Wake up, rise and shine. It's a brand new day with Mona News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled, from morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Hello, everyone. It is Mornings with Mo. It is November the 4th, and welcome, everyone. Good morning and welcome, Cup of Joe and my mini me, or my mini 67. Wolfram, thank you for your modly mod duties. Boom, her, welcome. Photo Lady 12, welcome. Welcome, Tammy. And trying to get everyone here. And replay crew just means that you're not watching a live right at that time. So I do that a lot with other people because I'll be on, and it just means that you're watching after this is live, but you're still watching. So thank you so much, Greedy Bloke and Debbie Blair and Jedi Jess. Welcome. And welcome, everyone. Let's get into the news. I have the latest and exclusive on Peanut the Squirrel, the saga that I think has united all of America, which is weird because, 2024 continues shining on, you glorious, absurd bastard, because who would have thought that a revolution would start because of Peanut? Now, who ratted out Peanut the Squirrel? Grieving owners have their theories, and it's a rich one. So this is exclusive from the New York Times. I know that Peanut's owners have been going around. They talked to TMZ, but definitely this is, something that people really care about. Peanut the Squirrel was ratted out by someone, and his upstate owners think it was over jealousy. Mark and Daniela Longo told the Post on Sunday that they had been cashing in on their furry internet sensation, who helped steer followers to their raunchy OnlyFans page. Well, that explains why Peanut's dad always had super-duper tight shorts or pants on. But he's still Peanut's dad. Don't really care. The couple's financial success, fueled partially by Peanut, may have been enough to drive someone to drop a dime on them and their fluffy-tailed cash cow. Maybe it's someone who thinks I use this place to make a lot of money, Mark said of the rescue farm. Did this do wonders for my OnlyFans? Mark said of the site, where Peanut frolicked along with other animals. Absolutely, it's making a lot of money from this. Longos said that they bought a 350-acre spread out near Elmira with the $800,000 that they made 1 month posting their prawn online. And Peanut began pulling his own weight with his separate family-friendly based channel. I mean, it does explain the tight pants, but he's a good-looking guy, and Peanut's cute. I don't care what you do on your own time. Have an OnlyFans account. Just don't let your dad be the manager of it. Courtney Clenny, I'm looking at you. That's a little creepy. I had my own kind of squirrel dad account, my own Instagram, Mark Longo said, and it's me doing a lot of workouts, and a lot of the times, I don't have to make dual content like I used to. I just tag my squirrel dad account from Peanut video I posted, so it gets double the clips. Every once in a while, a shirtless photo on Peanut's page too, but I completely separated myself from this entire thing. Obviously, people were going to find both and try to associate them. The Longos made headlines after the State Department of Environmental Conservation raided their upstate farm. And by raided, I mean destroyed it for 5 hours. And, while looking for Peanut, when his parents were, out there, sitting on the ground like freaking the Al Capone or Bonnie and Clyde. He bit them because, well, Peanut, like me, hates the feds. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, an animal's gonna bite you if he doesn't know who you are and you're destroying his home. Now, unfortunately, the, Department of Environmental Conservation euthanized both Peanut and Fred the raccoon. Let us not forget the trash panda. Justice for Fred too. Now, they are seen by many as victims of an overreaching state government. The couple have become local heroes. This morning at the supermarket, I wanted a couple extra copies of the Post to keep for myself, Longo said, referring to Sunday's paper with the frontline headline, Bushy whacked. When I walked in, people recognized my face because I was on the cover of the newspaper, and they just kind of nodded and smiled. Last night, my wife and I went out for dinner. We were having dinner, and the couple next to us looked over and said, "We're so sorry for what happened, and we want you to know you have our full support." Everyone was just noticing, and then they would tell us that, they were sorry about what happened with Peanut and Fred. The squirrel's death sparked so much outrage that it prompted state legislators to propose legislation that would improve animal rights statutes, including a bill called Peanut's Law, Humane Animal Protection Act. What happened to Peanut was a tragedy, said State Assemblyman Jake Bloomkrantz on X. As a state lawmaker and an animal rights advocate, this tragedy can be an agent for change. Now, the measure would mandate a 72-hour waiting period before an animal from a sanctuary can be put to sleep and creates an appeals system giving animal refuge sites the right to humane due process. Peanut and Fred's death have sparked backlash from other polls too. A spokesperson for former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who is reportedly eyeing a run for New York City mayor, trolled Governor Kathy Hochul on X over her administration's handling of Peanut and Fred. When no one's minding the store and state agencies are allowed to act with impunity, this is how stuff like this happens, wrote the rep. Andrew, as a party, this situation should have come across someone's desk in Kathy Hochul's office, and someone with a brain should have stepped in. Hashtag justice for Peanut and Fred. Do not forget Fred. And look, I know people are doing the internet 4chan digging. Whoever turned Peanut in, if they have kids, if they have animals, let's keep them out of that. Let's not be cray cray. Let's not do the same thing she did. You know, people do dumb things. Do I think that she thought that the animals were going to be euthanized? Probably not. Does that make her being a narky hall monitor Randall Karen any better? No. But if she has kids and she has pets, let's keep them out of this and stop, let's not create more cray cray to go with this. Let's not create more tragedy to go with this. I don't know what was in their heart. I don't know, but ugh. Oh, well, Jedi just fine. This person is a horrible cahoot, but she's still, let's not fight fire with fire. The memes are, and let us not forget, Fred in this whole thing. Now, I want to talk about what real heroism is because I'm not sure that YouTube is going to be real happy with me showing this, but feminists out there, you absolute ridiculous women who are like, women don't have any rights in America. This woman probably is dead now, but she had the balls to walk around where she knows she is probably going to lose her life because she is fighting for something, fighting for the Iran that, used to be a mecca, a cultural mecca in the 70s, wearing miniskirts, having women go to college. Now they're being unalived because their hijab slips or they don't have an, niqab on right. And niqab would be the full kind of letterbox covering. I know the full beekeeper covering, if you want to know. And the hijab is just the scarf. This, my feminist friends in America, is what real effing courage looks like, and this woman is probably dead now, but God love it. If you wanna do stuff, oh, I will be doing a separate video about that. It will be full of the, cahoot word. So, look forward to, Mo raging about that ridiculousness. The burqa is the full body covering, the niqab is the black sort of headdress that you just see kind of netted eyes, and then the hijab is this, it's just the headscarf. Iran student strips and walks around in underwear in apparent protest of strict hijab laws, allegedly leading to a violent arrest. Now, there is probably no allegedly needed. It is Iran. They do have a terrifying morality police that seems to target women who are, stepping out of their place. A female college student was arrested in Iran on Sunday for stripping down and strutting around campus in her underpants and bra in an apparent protest over allegedly being assaulted for not wearing a hijab. A now viral video shows the young woman in a bra and panties in the courtyard of Tehran's Azad University, while other footage shows her soon being shoved by men into a car and driven away. The unidentified student was protesting security forces who had ripped her clothing earlier while confronting her for not wearing a headscarf, which Iranian law demands for all women in public, Iran International reported. After the woman stripped in protest, she was filmed from above, sitting on a wall, with one man approaching her and making a phone call before casually walking away as bemused students looked on. A university rep said, quote, campus security intervened and handed the individual over to law enforcement authorities, blaming the incident on an indecent act by a student. An online student group claimed the woman was also assaulted during her arrest by plainclothes security forces, leaving her bleeding heavily from her head after she was struck, possibly against a pillar or a door of the car. Quote, bloodstains from the student was reportedly seen on the car's tires, according to Iran International. She was taken to a police station, then admitted to a mental health facility, the report said, with university officials saying she suffered, quote, severe psychological distress, end quote, before the incident. The underwear-clad protester has already become an icon for those decrying Islamic Republic's brutal treatment of those defying its rules. A key UN official shared concerns about the student's arrest. I will be monitoring this incident closely, including the authorities' response. Mai Sato, a UN special monitor on human rights, wrote on X alongside a video of the incident. Iran's laws demand that all women, Muslim or not, wear headscarves in public, and the government has ramped up enforcement of such laws since 2022, when Masha Amini died in custody after being arrested for hijab violations, sparking protests in which security forces killed more than 550 people and arrested thousands more. Feminist, ladyist, whatever you want to call yourselves in this country, where I can go around in, a crop top and biker shorts for the sanctity of everyone else's eyes. I will not do that. But God bless it. This is real flippin' feminism. You want to talk about putting something on the line? This woman is probably dead. She's probably not in a mental health facility. She is probably dead. So the next time you want to bitch about microaggressions or paying because you want to buy a pink flowery razor, could you please shut your mouth? Because unless you're going to go stand with your sisters over here who are fighting just to have their hair uncovered, I don't want to hear about your petty little problems. I'm just done. I am done with the microaggressions. I'm done with these horrific hose beast, from that look like dumpster Muppets from, the Dark Crystal. What was her name? Hagatha? I can't remember, but I am done with these women who fight for little microaggression-y things when our sisters overseas are getting unalived because they don't want to cover their hair. Damn it. I'm just done. I am so done with these microaggressions, these micro traumas when there's real injustice going on, and crickets. So, I'm just saying, I'm in a little bit of a weird mood about this whole thing. Well, sex on the beach has never gone so wrong, apparently. This is, of course, as we should all realize, recommend, and love, a Florida man story and a Florida whoa man story. Man who wanted to have smexy time on a beach while tied up was hit with a hatchet and choculated by a woman and her boyfriend. I mean, I don't understand how any of this happened. Let's get into the article. A Florida man and woman are behind bars after they allegedly attacked a man who wanted to have smexy time while tied up on the beach. I have a couple questions. If you're tied up, how are you going to get the sand from your crotchular and nether region bits? I mean, this sounds so unromantic to me. I mean, get tied up if you want to, I don't care, but you're going to have so much sand in all your gentle bits. God bless you. I hope you had a towel with you, sir. According to a probable cause arrest affidavit, a frantic man flagged down a Volusia County Sheriff deputy at about 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday night around Ocean Shore Boulevard in Ormond by the Sea. He was bleeding heavily throughout his body. The man told a deputy he'd been jumped by a man and a woman on a beach. He said he and the woman, later identified as 18-year-old Alana Cagle, agreed to come to the beach where she would tie him up, then do the beast with two backs. Because, that's how all of these things start. You'd meet someone at a bar and you're like, hey, would you like to tie me up and do it on the beach? And as everyone says, like, heck yeah, gonna be a great idea. What the hell is going on here? Cagle picked him up at his house and they drove to Bicentennial Park, where they parked the car and walked to the beach. When they got to the beach, he started to feel quote unquote odd vibes from Cagle because she was sitting about 5 feet away from him. Nonetheless, she took out a yellow rope that she brought with her and began to tie him up. At this point, the victim saw another man approaching them. He tried to untie himself, but Cagle jumped on top of his legs. He was able to fight her off and began to run, but the other man, later identified as 24-year-old Wayne Streeter, tracked him down and tackled him. Streeter allegedly began choking him while Cagle punched him in the face. Per deputies, Cagle then pulled out a hatchet and began hitting him with it all over his body. The victim was able to fight off both of the suspects. He ran to get help, according to authorities. He described Cagle's vehicle, and deputies pulled her over nearby with Streeter inside. They allegedly also had a backpack the victim left behind. Deputies tried speaking with Cagle, but she requested a lawyer. They said, post Miranda, Streeter told detectives that he and Cagle were boyfriend and girlfriend. Streeter said that Cagle picked him up and they drove to the beach. Then he claimed he saw a man he did not know push Cagle down on the beach and he went to save her. Streeter said there were no weapons used, but he did admit to choking the victim. Deputies went to the beach where they found blood and yellow rope used to tie up the victim. He suffered several lacerations and multiple long cuts to his abdomen. Paramedics took him to the hospital where doctors treated his injuries. The cops arrested the, lovers, the real pair of lovers, Cagle and Streeter, on aggravated battery with deadly weapon charges, but both have since posted $500 bond or $5,000 bond, and they will have court dates scheduled for November the 26th. Here, you guys, ladies, Zimzers, maybe don't look for your smexy time buddies on, like, Craigslist. Maybe have them pass a background test. Maybe, and I know this is gonna be crazy and it's coming from a mom, but maybe wait to have smexy time until you know the person isn't gonna have a boyfriend that's going to attack you with a hatchet. I mean, that might be like a second date thing. I don't know when you talk about, like, how many people are you boffing here lately? Do any of them, you know, want a hatchet of any kind? I don't know where you put that. I am too married to remember what we were supposed to ask on the 3rd date. Well, I don't know how this happened, but apparently an entire small Oklahoma town had its police in or department resign suddenly. Capital of crime now. Residents are up in arms as an entire police department of a small Oklahoma town suddenly resigns. It's, quote, a danger to the citizens. Residents of a small Oklahoma town were left angry and frustrated following the sudden resignation of their entire police force. The four-person police force of Geary, hey, you could become the next Gary, Indiana. The spot is open. You can apply. Quit in or so it's 1,000, people in the town, and it's some 50 miles northwest of Oklahoma City, quit en masse Thursday with little explanation, and 2 members of the city council also announced their resignations. "We don't have much of a city anymore," resident Sanja Lukte, told Oklahoma City news TV station KOCO TV. "I'm not happy by any means. A city without a police force is a danger to the citizens of the entire town," an anonymous resident told Fox affiliate KOKH TV. "When I tell you there's some misconduct or corruption going on in the town of Gary, that's exactly what's happening. It's really sad it's come to this." The mass resignation was announced in a social media post by former police chief Alicia Ford, who did not provide a reason. "It is with great sadness that I and the rest of Gary police officers will no longer be serving this community, but it was the right decision for me and other officers." Ford told KOCO that a consultant hired by the city council to probe the Gary Police Department had been named as the interim chief. The new interim chief, JJ Stilt, confirmed to KOKH that he was initially hired as a consultant, but was suddenly brought on to lead the department. "It was the other night I was given information that, hey, we have a problem at the police department. We're going to need someone to step up. Is that a possibility for you?" "I was hesitant at first," he told the outlet, "but I was like, yeah, hey, I'll help you out the best I can." He said he's not fully aware of the reasons behind the resignations of Ford and the 3 other officers who quit Thursday. "If this isn't an emergency, then what is?" Gary resident Tatum Wigington told KOCO. The same person who was acting as interim chief was hired by a city council to do an audit on the police department, and now he's the interim chief. It seems a bit suspicious. Former Gary City Council members Rocky Coleman and Christina Miller also resigned on Thursday. In a letter provided to KOKH, Coleman said his values did not align with the city's current direction. "Ever since we've lived here, it's been one drama after the other, and it worries me for this town. Like, we should be building up, not falling down. We need to figure out what the problem is, and we need to fix it. It needs to be fixed, and it needs to start at the top." Gary, for the time being, will get law enforcement support from the Blaine County and Canadian County Sheriff's Office. "It's not doomsday here. We're taking care of business. It's business as usual." The city of Gary could not be immediately reached for comment. Now, I'm not sure about this one. Here's what I speculate happened, and take this with a grain of ramen noodle, flavor kernels. My guess is that as a small police department, they could not offer competitive pay. Maybe they also could not cover all of the benefits. And unfortunately, officers need to think about their families and how much they are being compensated. And maybe they got better offers elsewhere. Maybe the town, regardless of where they pulled and picked and kind of got different things, is just not big enough to support the salaries of 4 full-time employees at the rate that they want to be paid that is competitive. So that might be a factor. There might be all the shenanigans and corruption going on in the world, but that is kind of what I'm gathering has happened in small towns around me when these sort of things have come up in the news previously, that it was more a factor that they couldn't keep up with the cost of living rate increases and things like that, and people don't wanna be taxed more, so it's kind of, I think, a multifactorial thing, but I will keep an eye on this. If there is a major corruption scandal or something like that, we will figure it out. Well, I mean, I don't know that this is the father-son, bonding experience that it should be, but a father teamed up with his son to unalive the teen's mother after she attempted to gain full custody of his younger brother, according to police officers. Again, this is not how you bond with your children. A dad in Colorado and his 17-year-old son are accused of unaliving the teen's mother just hours after she informed them that she was filing for full custody of the boy's younger brother, according to law enforcement authorities. Both Charles Martinez, 43, and his son, Hevian Martinez, who was charged as an adult this week with first-degree murder, along with his father, allegedly made pleas over the phone with Pagosa Springs resident Crystal Snow, 38, asking her not to go through the custody filing before driving to her house in the middle of the night on July 2nd and using a force multiplier on her, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation reports. Quote, Charles and Javion Martinez were both aware that Crystal Snow was preparing to file paperwork in court the following day that related to her petition for full custody of Javion Martinez's brother, said the duo's arrest affidavit, which was obtained by Law and Crime. Charles and Javion both made one last attempt to convince Crystal not to go to court or file for full custody. In communications both had with Crystal on the evening of July 1st, 2024, multiple witnesses informed CBI agents during its investigation about the details of the conversation that Snow allegedly had with the pair that July night, hours before the homicide, according to the affidavit. Witnesses claimed that Charles Martinez and his son had made verbal threats to unalive Snow in the past. At around 2:23 a.m., that night, neighbors reported hearing multiple gunshots coming from Snow's residence. Charles Martinez was living with his mother at the time according to the affidavit, and Javion was staying with his aunt. Investigators believe the pair went to Snow's house in a white Ford Explorer belonging to Charles Martinez's mother and began opening fire on the house as they entered. It appeared one gunshot was fired from outside the residence through the front living room window. The victim appeared to have fled to the bathroom of the master bedroom where she was confronted and unfortunately shot multiple times. After being shot, Snow managed to call the police and first responders did arrive, and unfortunately she had passed away in the intervening time between, being able to just barely make that call and first responders getting there. Now, a 40 caliber pistol was believed to have been used in the shooting, though it is unclear whether Charles Martinez or his son fired the rounds that killed Snow. And as you guys know, or if you don't know, you do not have to be the person that pulls the trigger to be charged with murder. If you are there helping, in any way to facilitate this unaliving, you can be charged with murder. And now in Indiana, it's called felony murder. If you are doing, say, a felony and someone dies, so they were breaking into the home, that's what you would be charged with. So I don't know how they're going to charge this, but if you are new to trials, you do not have to be the person with, your finger on the little trigulator to get, charged with unaliving someone. Based on the deputy's initial observations, Crystal appeared to have suffered a gunshot wound to her right upper arm, a gunshot wound to her upper right chest, a gunshot wound to her right leg. The affidavit said one spent cartridge casing was also found near the floor around the victim. Surveillance footage obtained by CBI investigators allegedly shows Charles Martinez and his son traveling on various local roads to and from the murder scene in a white Ford Explorer, according to the affidavit. Interviews with witnesses and friends of Snow's, including a domestic violence victim advocate she had been corresponding with, turned up mountains of evidence against Charles and Javion during the CBI investigation. The victim advocate laid out allegations of domestic abuse and threats by Charles Martinez and the teen's son stemming as far back as October 2023, when a protection order was filed by Snow after Javion Martinez put his hands around her throat and threatened to unalive her. In a petition to obtain the order, Snow claimed that the teen was physically assaulting her by hitting her and that the abuse began in February 2023. Charles Martinez, however, meanwhile, has also allegedly threatened to unalive Snow in her sleep, according to a victim's advocate, and was allegedly abusive throughout their 18-year relationship. The victim's advocate said Crystal told her that Charles said he would come in the middle of the night to unalive her and that a protection order was just a piece of paper. Snow had been granted a permanent restraining order in June against Charles Martinez for verbal abuse and harassment after the couple split in October 2023. It's clear, based on the evidence and information obtained thus far in the investigation, that the homicide of Crystal Snow was pre planned by both Javion and Charles Martinez. Javion was picked up by the police for unrelated incident days later on July 7th, in which he allegedly fired a 45 caliber handgun at a vehicle during a 4th of July event in Cortez, Colorado. It took 4 months for CBI's investigation to wrap up before charges were filed this week against Javion and Charles Martinez in Colorado's 6th Judicial District. Both appeared in court on Friday and had their advisement hearings. Now, I know some people, look, I have been lucky and blessed to have the co-parenting relationship with my youngest daughter's father, but I myself suffered from cranial rectitis when she was first born and didn't want to share her, wanted to put my feelings first, and I had to pull my own behind out of my own head out of my own behind. And I'm glad I did too. I'm glad I did fairly quickly and realize how much he loves his daughter, that we might not be a great fit, but if I can do it, if I can realize my butt monkey nature and, work to love my daughter and give her as much of her father and people who love her, her bonus mother, you know, put that idea first instead of not liking, the other party that you had a child with. Everyone should be able to do it. I hold on to grudges like it is my job. I am the grand Olympian of grudgery, okay? But if I can, pull my own head out of my butt and admit that I was, being a bit of a jerk, then everyone else should be able to. Love your kid more than you hate their other parent. I don't get why that's such a daggone difficult thing to do, but some people really, really do struggle with it. So if you're one of those people, like I formerly was, please take a moment. It's going to take a couple deep breaths and pull your head out of your behind. The air is fresher out here. You're not such a dumbass. Could we go do this? Well, I had to click on this one because Killer Clown, and I don't read the articles, but I had to click on this one. Florida's convicted killer clown released from prison for the murder of her husband's then wife. I have so many questions. What was your clown name? Was it Giggles? I'm just going to pretend it was Giggles. A woman who pled guilty to dressing as a clown in 1990 and murdering the wife of a man she later married was released from prison Saturday. Can you imagine the Hallmark Christmas movie, Clown Love? A blood-soaked horror tale of matrimony, divorce, death, and clowns. I mean, who wouldn't want a ride or die chick that dressed like a clown and unalives, your current old lady? What is going on here? Holy crow, people are weird. Ending a case that was strange even by Florida standards. Sheila Keene Warren, 61, was released 18 months after she pled guilty to second-degree unaliving for the shooting of Marlene Warren, Florida Department of Correction records show. The plea deal came shortly before her trial would have started. Keene Warren, who has maintained her innocence even after her plea, has been sentenced to 12 years in prison, or had been sentenced to 12 years in prison, but she had been in custody for 7 years since her arrest in 2017. Florida's laws in 1990 allows for significant credit for good behavior. It had been expected that she would be released in 2 years. Quote, Sheila Keene Warren will always be an admitted convicted killer and will wear that stain for every day for the rest of her life, Palm Beach County State Attorney David Araberg said in a statement on Saturday. Greg Rosenfield, Keen Warren's attorney, said that she only took the plea deal because she would be released in less than 2 years and had been facing a life sentence if convicted at trial. We're absolutely thrilled that Miss Keen Warren has been released from prison and is returning to her family. As we've stated it from the beginning, she did not commit this crime. Marlene Warren's son, Jeff Aarons, and his friends were at home when they saw a person dressed as a clown ring the doorbell. He said that when his mother answered, the clown handed her some balloons. After she responded, "How nice," the clown pulled out a force multiplier and shot her in the face before fleeing. I mean, that's a bit dramatic for a ding dong ditch, but it's Florida rules, y'all. Sarah Boone, hide and seek, Florida ding dong ditch. Dress up like a clown, force multiplier. Palm Beach County Sheriff's investigators had long suspected Keen Warren in the slaying, but she wasn't arrested until 27 years later when they said improved DNA testing tied her to evidence found in the getaway car. Rosenfeld has called that evidence weak. At the time of the shooting, Keen Warren was an employee of Marlene Warren's husband, Michael, at his used car lot. A used car salesman lying both to the consumer and his wife? Perish the thought. Now I'm imagining him as the Bill Paxton character from True Lies, where he's like, "I'm super duper a spy." I don't know why. That's what I'm imagining this man. Also, if a person takes a force multiplier to the face of your current wife, why the hell would you marry this person? It seems like, if you cross them, you could get a clowning too. Let's see. Now, at the time of the shooting, okay, wait a minute. Since 2002, she has been his wife. So she was a, car lot employee slash clownicider, but now she's his wife. They eventually moved to Abington, Virginia, where they ran a small restaurant just across the Tennessee border. Witnesses told an investigator in 1990 that then Sheila Keen and Michael Warren were having an affair, though both denied it. Over the years, detectives said costume shop employees identified Sheila Warren as the woman who bought a clown suit a few days before the killing. And one of the two balloons, so a silver one that read "You're the Greatest," was sold only at one store, a public supermarket near Keen Warren's home. Employees told detectives that a woman who looked like Keen Warren had bought the balloons an hour before the shooting. The presumed getaway car was found abandoned with orange hair-like fibers inside. The white Chrysler convertible had been reported stolen from Michael Warren's car lot a month before the shooting. So let me see if I get this straight. In order for her to be innocent, someone has to steal the car from old dude's parking lot, has to dress up like a clown in public and get flour and get balloons, then it gets abandoned and it has nothing to do with you. Sure, Jan, sure. Uh, Keen Warren and her then husband repossessed cars for, the car lot. So she was married at the time. She did a clownicide. She loses her, unfortunate husband, or he dodges a bullet and a clownicide. And then these two like rejects get married. Okay, I guess it's love in, Jerry Springer style. Relatives told the Palm Beach Post in 2000 that Marlene Warren, who was 40 when she died, suspected her husband was having an affair and wanted to leave him. But the car lot and other properties were in her name, and she feared what would happen if she ever did. She allegedly told her mother, "If anything happens to me, Mike done it." He's never been charged and has denied involvement. But Rosenfeld said last year that the state's case was falling apart. One DNA sample somehow showed both male and female genes, he said, and the other could have come from one of every 20 women. Even if the hair did come from Keen Warren, it could have been deposited before the car was reported stolen. He said that Marlene Warren's son and other witnesses told the detectives that the car deputies found wasn't the killer's, though the investigators insisted it was. Ehrenberg last year conceded that there were holes in the case, saying they were caused by the 3 decades it took to get to trial, including the death of key witnesses. Michael Warren was convicted in 1994 of grand theft, racketeering, odometer tampering. He served almost 4 years in prison, a punishment his then attorneys said was disproportionately long because of suspicions he was involved in his wife's death. He did not respond to a phone message left for him on Saturday. I'm just saying, if they run a restaurant, I'm not going because I don't need a side of crazy with my biscuits and grit. And clowns are terrifying. I like them when I can watch them on the screen and they are far away from me, but real life clowns, deeply uncomfortable with them. And I know that they bring joy to a lot of people. They didn't disclose the name of the restaurant, but it is in uh, Abington, Virginia. And they might not have it anymore because it is in the past tense. But I'm just saying, killer clown restaurant, that's a no go for me. Audio coffee, truth. No lies detected. In a tribute to Fred, the, heroic trash panda of America, we have 4 trash pandas escape from a zoo in England. They were like justice for Peanut and Fred. Don't forget Fred. I believe that this was a total protest. The woodland creatures are striking together, and it will be Helm's Deep for, the rest of us two-legged bipedal people. A zoo in England is asking members of the public to be on the lookout for 4 female raccoons that escaped from the facility Friday morning. The Amazon World Zoo Park near Sandown on the Isle of Wight, or is it White or Right? If anyone's across the pond, let me know. Uh, Said that raccoons managed their escape from their closure late Thursday night or Friday morning. If you have a sighting, please do not approach them. They are not normally aggressive, but will be scared, the zoo said on social media. Officials asked near residents to check sheds and bonfire pits as the animals will sleep during the day and become active at dusk. Rowena Welsh, the supervisor at the zoo, said a search had been launched for the masked fugitives. They are new here. Everyone is out searching, and we have tracker dogs and drones looking for them. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Well, so I know Wales has names, and I didn't know if the Isle of Wight was considered. So I just didn't want to mess it up because Welsh is hard. Okay, so it's white. Thank you guys. But Welsh is hard for the non-Welsh, and I would be distinctly non-Welsh. So, oh my gosh, it's sometimes I look at these names and I'm like, um, how do you spell 4 L's together with a Y in the middle? I just need it phonetically sounded out, and sometimes the star doesn't do that. And this is an animal heavy mornings with Mo, but our final story, because it does kind of get legalish in here, it gets a little lawful law-y. Can elephants sue a zoo to leave? Colorado's top court must now decide if, Dumbo the elephant can file its own way. Oh, I want to go so much. I actually have some housekeeping stuff at the end, but I will be sort of traveling soon, so that will be a big thing. 5 elephants in a Colorado zoo could someday sue for their freedom if the state Supreme Court sides with animal rights group and declares them as quote unquote persons under the law. But first, the justices had a few questions about cats and dogs. Quote, how do I know when it stops? Justice Melissa Hart said during Thursday's hearing, wondering if their ruling might someday lead to emancipating people's pets. At stake is whether the elephants from Cheyenne Mountain Zoo should be treated as people under the law. It was a question asked several times but never really answered. The Non-Human Rights Project You guys, that doesn't sound right. See, so non-human rights project, it sounds negative at the beginning, which I get what you're trying to say, but you could have just put animal rights project instead of non-human rights, but okay. Says the elephants, Missy, Kimba, Lucky, Lulu, and Jambo should be able to use long-held process that is mainly for prisoners to dispute their detention. The group says that animals born in the wild in Africa are showing signs of brain damage because the zoo is essentially a prison for such intelligent and social creatures, known to roam for miles a day. They want the animals to be released to one of the two accredited elephant sanctuaries in the United States because the group doesn't think they can live in the wild anymore. The group unsuccessfully sued in 2022 on behalf of an elephant at the Bronx Zoo named Happy. The highest court in New York ruled that Happy, while intelligent and deserving of compassion, cannot be considered a person who is legally confined with the ability to pursue a petition seeking release. The New York ruling said giving such rights to an elephant would, quote, have enormous destabilizing impact on modern society. The Cheyenne Mountain Zoo says moving the elephants and potentially placing them with new animals would be cruel at their age, possibly causing unnecessary stress. It says they are not used to being in a larger herd, and based on its experience, they don't have the skill or desire to join one. The justices will issue a ruling in the coming weeks or months. During the hearing, the group's lawyer, Jake Davis, urged the justices to focus on the five quote unquote individuals he represents, asking them to rule that elephants can pursue a habeas corpus petition and send the case back to a lower court, which would consider the petition and decide if the animals should leave the zoo. However, he did say that domesticated animals like dogs, which are familiar with lounging on the couch, are in a much different category than wild animals. Justice Maria Birkenkotter asked or said Davis beautifully and painfully described the elephant's rocking behavior, which the group says shows signs of distress, but she wondered if the group should instead try changing the law at the state legislature or passing a ballot measure to protect the elephants. Chief Justice Monica Marquez pressed the zoo's attorney on the main point made by the animal rights group that the right to habeas corpus had been extended over the year, such as to enslave people and women in abusive marriages. All those extensions were made, though, by our two human beings, countered Jonathan Suthers, a former U.S. attorney and Colorado attorney general who represented the zoo. He pointed to Happy's case in New York, where the judges ruled that the right to challenge detention belongs to human beings because they are humans who can be held accountable by the legal system. This court, no court in its proper venue, uh, would do what they're trying to accomplish, he said. So I don't know. I kind of hope that if they are able to join a larger, more social group, they can. Elephants are incredibly emotionally sensitive. They have their own language. They're doing research right now that they might have their own names or calls that correspond to one individual. And I will say that I hope that they can get that kind of thing done. I will say that I've never taken my kids to the or my boys to the zoo. It always just makes me so sad. The animals, they don't seem sad, but I always feel so bad that they have to sit there watching weird Midwestern people, like, point at them and take pictures. It always feels a bit weird when I go to the zoo, so, it's not a particular happy place for me, but my boys do wanna go, so I am going to have to shove that in and just, go to the zoo, but sometimes no, it's they have, like, 2 L's, a W, and a Y, and then, like, a PH for no reason. I love whales, I just don't understand the language. But that applies to many countries because I barely understand English sometimes. So to housekeeping for a little bit before I send you over to, oh gosh, who am I sending you over to? I believe Ada K. So I will be this week scheduling, my infusions. I had a family member offer to help pay for them, so we have saved a little bit, but I'm able to get my infusions. So, um, here, let me switch to and today is National CRPS Day. I get my own day, doggone it, yay. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care about the day. But these are going to be, it's probably going to be 2 weeks that I will be working on a laptop and you'll be hanging out with me as I get these done. I'm kind of a little overwhelmed. I didn't expect someone to offer to help this way, and it's a little discombobulating. And it's wonderful news, and I do not take it for granted. I'm incredibly blessed. I'm also incredibly worried that because you guys have been with me through this entire journey, and you've seen me get excited for things, and then I wasn't a good surgical candidate, or I was shuffled off to another doctor. And this is kind of the last, sort of option for me right now to do, and I am a little worried that it's not going to work, but, I've been encouraged by Mr. Mo and everyone around me to give this a shot, and I I am I am making the call today, so I will try to give you guys a heads up when that will be starting. These infusions take about 4 hours, I have to do about 10 of them, so we're working out Airbnb and Uber stuff because we don't know how long Mr. Mo will be able to come up and take me, but it really is great news, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I will be taking my laptop depending on how I react. I might just be really tired and not streaming a whole bunch, or I might, just be chatting with you guys, uh, and watching a trial as I'm sitting there kind of, just hooked up and in this. So on National CRPS Day, it's my wish and my hope that insurance will start to cover this for everyone. Uh, these ketamine infusions are some of the only things that tend to work long term for people that have, CRPS, and by that reasoning alone, this should be covered by insurance. There's only 3% of people in the world that suffer with RSD, what it used to be called, or CRPS, what is currently called now, that can't eat into a giant enormous amount of profits if we can get people feeling better and they don't have to be stuck on narcotics. I don't know what issues it are, but if we could get people functional without, things that have very addictive qualities, why can't we do that? It just makes no sense to me. It doesn't. And it's not fair that, people they don't cover things that actually work for people. They want to continue to have, you on this, ever never-ending revolving doors of, pills and stuff that is addictive and bad for you. And they treat you like an absolute faker sometimes, and it's really, really hard to deal with that. But, I just wanted to let you guys know so, things might change up. I am going to try to get in as soon as I can, but, it's probably gonna take a couple weeks because, I'm transport mom, so it's gonna definitely be a lot of things, but this is something that I didn't think I'd get to do until spring, and having not to weather this fall with the full brunt of everything is just absolutely amazing. So I wanted to share that with you guys and let you know that I will be keeping you updated with how things are gonna work for that, 10-day period. But I'm really excited and wanted to thank you all so much because I was talking to the person who offered, and said, "I'm not gonna lie. For 2 years, I was in a full-on pity party, but this year, the support you guys have always given and just being there to listen and, be supportive have really made me, feel much more able to adapt and conquer this year. and I really appreciate it and just wanted to share this news with you because you guys have been, my cheering section, and I am just so happy with, the friends that I've made, the tribe that I've found, and wanted to share this with you guys. So thank you so much. I am sending you over, I believe, to Ada K. She is on verdict watch for the burn pile husband case, I believe, but don't quote me on that. And then this afternoon at around noon, I will be doing a stream with alternate juror, and we will just be talking about kind of the Delphi case, how we got into it, and what we kind of observed and noticed living in Indiana, how this case has touched us. And then we will be going on to kind of cover in more expansive means kind of what's gone on with the trial. But just to give you that perspective where we came on, how we feel about the case and different things, a perspective from two local, true crimers, how we got into this, how we feel like it's going, and just kind of that general stuff. So please join us later on today. I think we will be dual streaming, so give her some love. She did a wonderful job on the Shanda Vander Ark case. So if you would like to look at that, she has a lot of care and compassion about it. So it's really good. I will see you guys then. I'm off to the dentist and, well, not to lie about flossing. I do floss. It's just a pain in the ass, and I like the little pick things, and my dentist is all about just the regular OG floss, and I'm like, "No, I'm using the pick things. Stop it." Anywho, bye, you guys.